Drop of blood. The night was not born, it was summoned. Storm clouds rolled over the Carpathian peaks like black serpents, their bellies swollen with thunder. Below, the ruined castle of Poenary stood half-consumed by ivy and time, its jagged towers piercing the mist like teeth. And in the heart of that ruin, something old began to breathe again. The crypt doors shuddered. Dust rose like smoke. Then, silence, followed by the faintest sound, a heartbeat, slow and ancient, echoing through the stone. A single droplet of blood fell from the ceiling and landed upon a pale hand. The hand twitched, and the darkness opened its eyes. He rose from the stone coffin like a shadow remembering its shape. His armor was cracked, his hair as black as midnight, and his skin gleamed faintly in the candlelight, colorless, beautiful, and wrong. Vladislaus Dracula had awoken. "So, the sun still fears me," he murmured, his voice deep, unholy. He moved toward the mirror that hung shattered upon the wall. No reflection, only the flicker of lightning where his face should have been. "A curse eternal," he whispered. "A throne abandoned." He pressed his hand against the cold glass, and for an instant, a reflection did appear, not of him, but of an angel with broken wings and eyes of flame. Dracula smiled. "Even you cannot chain me forever, Gabriel." He turned away, his cloak sweeping across the floor like liquid night. The walls trembled with his motion. Bats scattered from the rafters, spiraling into the storm above. And as he stepped out into the wind, the moon cracked through the clouds, a full blood-red disk, its light painting the valley below in crimson. The villages slept beneath it, unaware. But somewhere far below, a shepherd woke in terror. He could feel it, the hunger, the pulse of death traveling through the soil. Dracula stood upon the balcony, looking down at the valley that had forgotten his name. 900 years, he said softly, and they call me Myth. He stretched out his hand toward the village lights, his fingers curling like claws. One by one, the torches began to die, snuffed out as though the wind itself obeyed him. The storm whispered through the mountains, carrying his voice across miles. "Awaken, my children, awaken and feed." From the woods below came the sound of stirring earth. Graves opened. Hands reached from the soil, pale and bloodless, crawling toward the moonlight. Within minutes, the Valley of Ordeal was crawling with the newly reborn. Dracula turned back toward his throne room, where the centuries-old banners of the Order still hung. His crown lay broken across the dais, split in two. He picked it up and ran a finger along the jagged edge. "The angels took my throne," he murmured. "Now I will take theirs." He sat, the torn crown glinting faintly against his black hair. From a distance, thunder rolled again, only now it sounded like wings. Something enormous was moving beyond the storm. Dracula lifted his gaze toward the window. For a heartbeat, he saw them, figures descending through the lightning, pale silhouettes with feathers of fire. Angels, but these were not the radiant messengers of heaven. They were fallen, their halos flickering like dying suns. "So they have returned." He rose, spreading his arms. Lightning burst behind him, painting his silhouette across the entire mountain. "Come, hunters of heaven," he said softly. "The Crimson King awaits." Far away, in the chapel of Saint Valerious, a priest dropped his chalice as the candles all died at once. "He's awake," he whispered, and the sound carried, through corridors, through forests, through dreams, until it reached the mind of one sleeping woman. Anna Valerious awoke screaming. The same nightmare, the same crimson eyes watching her from the forest edge. She pressed her hand to the old scar at her wrist, the mark of her family's ancient vow, to destroy Dracula or die trying. But tonight, the air itself felt poisoned. She knew before dawn that the hunt had begun again. Back in the castle, Dracula stood at the center of his hall, staring at the stone statue that had once been Gabriel Van Hesling, his old enemy, his old brother. The statue's sword was still raised, frozen mid-strike, a relic of a battle that had torn heaven's veil. Dracula touched the hilt gently. "You were their champion once," he said. "But you carry my blood now, don't you?" A small crack ran down the statue's cheek. Dust fell, and somewhere deep beneath the castle floor, something began to stir, an echo, a memory, a pulse that was not entirely human. Dracula smiled. "Soon, my fallen angel. Soon we will meet again." The storm outside roared louder. The wind carried a faint scream, one of the villagers taken in the dark. The feast had begun, and high above the crimson clouds, a single feather drifted down, burned at the edges, glowing faintly gold. Dracula caught it between two fingers. Heaven bleeds tonight. Lightning struck the tower, and the night consumed everything. Candle. The bells of St. Valerious rang for the first time in a century, not for prayer, but for warning. In the mountain monastery of Vashner, Anna Valerious rode through the fog, her cloak torn, her hair dripping with the blood of wolves. The crossbow on her back was cracked, its bolts dipped in silver and ash. She had been hunting all night, but not all things could die in the dark. The forest whispered around her, the same whisper she'd heard since childhood. Her ancestors, her curse, her destiny. One day, the Valerious blood will end the shadow, or it will become it. The words of the prophecy pulsed through her mind as her horse slowed before the gates. The monks were already waiting, torches trembling in their hands. Brother Petros stepped forward, eyes sunken with fear. "You felt it too," Anna said, dismounting. He nodded once. "The crimson moon, the graves. It's begun again." Anna glanced toward the east. The horizon was wrong. The stars themselves seemed to burn red. "Dracula," she whispered. The priest crossed himself. "You mean him?" "No," she said sharply. "I mean the king, the one the angels feared to name." Inside the monastery, the air was cold enough to bite. The walls were lined with relics of her bloodline, blades, crosses, old parchments sealed with wax. She passed beneath them silently until she reached the altar room. There, upon a slab of obsidian, rested the Chronicle of the Damned, the book her ancestors had written in blood. Anna placed her hand upon its surface. It was warm. "It's breathing again," she murmured. The monks backed away as the pages began to turn on their own. Drawings of fanged kings and winged angels flashed past. The book stopped on one page. A figure half angel, half man, holding a burning sword over a sea of shadows. Beneath it, in Old Latin, the name burned faintly, Gabrielus Van Hesling. Anna frowned. "The hunter," she said. "The one they called Heaven's Butcher." The monk whispered. "The records say he was cursed, bound to the same blood he hunted." Anna looked up sharply. "Then the curse isn't just Dracula's." Night fell hard over the monastery. The wind carried the sound of wings, not birds, but something heavier, slower, wrong. Anna moved to the balcony, loading her crossbow. The forest below was moving, not swaying, shifting. A figure stepped out from the mist. Tall, pale, dressed in black armor that shimmered like obsidian. His eyes, crimson fire. His voice, velvet death. "You carry the scent of your ancestors," Dracula said. I smelled it even in my sleep. Anna raised her weapon. And you still bleed the same. He smiled faintly. Your family hunted me for centuries. But tell me, Anna Valerious, do you even know why? She hesitated. He took a step closer. Because your blood is not mortal. You were not meant to live forever, but neither can you die. You are the bridge between curse and salvation. The words hit her like a blade. Lies, she said. Dracula's eyes softened. I do not lie to my own. Before she could fire, he vanished, a streak of shadow, and reappeared behind her. His breath was cold against her ear. Your ancestor swore his soul to heaven, he whispered. But heaven never came. Only I did. Anna spun and fired. The bolt struck his chest, pure silver, and for a heartbeat, light tore through the hall. When it cleared, he was gone. Only ashes and a faint echo remained. You can kill a body, his voice whispered from everywhere. But not a memory. She fell to her knees, breathing hard, clutching the cross around her neck. It was glowing faintly, not with holy light, but something deeper, like the pulse of a buried heart. Brother Petros rushed in. What happened? Anna looked up, her eyes filled with fury and confusion. He said I was one of them. Petros froze. One of what? The fallen, she said bitterly. He said I'm a bridge between heaven and hell. The monk crossed himself again, whispering prayers that no longer held meaning. That night, as she tried to rest, Anna dreamed. She saw a battlefield of white feathers soaked in blood. Angels screaming as they fell, their wings burning like paper. And among them, a man. His armor was golden once, now blackened. His sword was light itself, and in his eyes, sorrow older than creation. He looked at her and whispered her name. Anna. She woke with a scream. Her room was filled with the scent of smoke. On her window, burned into the glass, were two words written in blood. He lives. The monastery bells began to ring again. From the north tower came the sound of battle, claws against steel, wings beating against stone. Anna grabbed her sword and ran. By the time she reached the courtyard, it was too late. The monks were gone. Only their blood painted the walls. And standing at the center, between the corpses and the firelight, was a figure in a long coat, his face hidden beneath shadow. In his hand, he held a burning crossbow, the same one her ancestors had wielded. He turned, and she froze. The man's eyes glowed faintly blue, not vampire red, not human brown. Blue, the color of fallen grace. Who are you? She demanded. He looked at her for a long moment, then spoke softly. I am the one they sent to end what heaven began. He lowered his hood. The wind caught his hair. His face was familiar, too familiar. Gabriel Van Hesling, he said. And you are my last hope. Crossed swords. The fire had not yet died, and still the snow began to fall. Each flake that touched the monastery turned black, dissolving into smoke before it reached the ground. Anna watched from the steps, her breath pale in the frozen air, as Gabriel Van Hesling stepped through the burning archway. His coat was scorched, his crossbow splattered with blood both red and silver. He looked neither mortal nor divine, only weary, as if carrying the weight of every soul that had ever begged heaven for mercy. You're real, Anna whispered. Gabriel's voice was low, cracked by centuries. Too real, too late. He gazed toward the distant peaks, where Dracula's castle burned faintly red against the horizon. He's gathering them, he said. The fallen, the hungry, the forgotten. He means to finish what heaven refused to do. Anna frowned. Finish what? He turned to her. In his eyes, There was the memory of 1,000 wars, the cleansing of heaven, the fall of angels. They rode together through the night, hunter and heir, across frozen rivers and through forests that bled fog. The moon followed them, low and watchful. Gabriel moved like a man who had died and come back wrong. His hand never left the cross around his neck, its silver chain blackened by centuries of fire. "You once fought for heaven," Anna said as they rode. "Why hunt for it now?" He didn't answer at first. Only the sound of hooves echoed through the valley. Then, quietly, "Because I remember what it was like to fall." Anna looked at him sharply. "Fall?" Gabriel smiled faintly. "They call me a hunter. But once, long ago, I had wings." Lightning flashed over the mountains. For a moment, she saw it, faint scars carved across his shoulder blades, glowing faintly blue beneath his torn shirt. "Heaven punished you," she whispered. He nodded. "For pitying the first of the damned." "Dracula," she said. Gabriel's silence was answer enough. By dawn, they reached the valley of Ordeal, once fertile, now ash. The sky hung low and red, the air thick with whispers. The castle loomed above, half ruin, half nightmare. At its gates stood two massive stone angels, their wings broken, their eyes bleeding light. As they approached, the statues moved. Gabriel drew his sword, its blade igniting in blue fire. "They were my brothers once," he said quietly. "Now they serve the throne of the damned." The statues roared and lunged. Stone wings swept through the air. Gabriel struck first, his blade cutting through marble as if it were flesh. Light burst from the wounds, and the valley trembled. Anna fired bolt after bolt, each one glowing silver. When it was over, the statues lay shattered. The gates creaked open on their own. Inside, the throne hall of Dracula had changed. The banners now bore symbols older than man, and on the throne itself sat Vladislaus Dracula, no longer the prince of vampires, but something far more ancient. His eyes were golden fire. His veins glowed faintly with light, not holy, but stolen. Behind him, black wings unfurled slowly, feathers made of ash and ember. "Welcome home, brother," he said. Anna froze. "Brother?" Gabriel stepped forward, sword raised. "You stole the breath of heaven." Dracula smiled. "I borrowed it from you." The two circled each other, silence stretching between them. Lightning flashed through the ruined ceiling. For the first time in 9 centuries, the brothers stood face to face. "We were created for the same purpose," Dracula said, "to judge the wicked. But when I saw mercy in their eyes, I refused. I fell, and heaven cast me out." Gabriel's grip tightened. "And now you play God in hell." "No," Dracula said softly. "I only finish what God abandoned." He raised his hand, and the hall shook. Dozens of spectral figures rose from the floor, fallen angels, bound in crimson light. Anna stepped back, eyes wide. "We can't fight them all." Gabriel looked at her. "We don't have to." He dropped his sword. It vanished in blue flame and stretched out both hands. His eyes began to glow brighter until the light filled the hall. "If heaven will not answer," he said, "then its silence will." The ground cracked. The air screamed. Wings, not seen for 1,000 years, burst from his back in a storm of light and fire. The fallen shrieked, shielding their eyes. Dracula roared, his own wings flaring wide. They collided, light and darkness, blood and flame, the hall exploding around them. Anna crawled to the altar, clutching the old cross that had hung above the throne. She could barely see, only the flashes of battle through the smoke. Wings beating, swords clashing, the sound of thunder tearing the world apart. She heard Gabriel's voice, calm even through the chaos. "You were my brother, Vladislaus." And Dracula's reply, full of sorrow, "You still are." A final explosion of light. Then silence. When the smoke cleared, the castle was gone. Only ruins remained, glowing faintly under the dawn. Anna stood alone among the ashes. In her hands, the cross had turned gold. At her feet, 2 feathers lay intertwined, one white, one black. The wind whispered, low and mournful, "The hunt is over." She looked to the horizon. The first true sunrise in centuries broke across the peaks. And for a fleeting moment, she saw them, 2 figures walking into the light, their shadows overlapping. Brothers, enemies, angels. The curse had ended. But legends never die, they wait. And somewhere, beneath the ashes of poenery, a single heartbeat echoed once, then twice. To fall is to remember.